Hi guys! Welcome to our
Straight
YouTube channel.
talk.
Yeah,
welcome. I'm Glory.
And I'm Peace.
Daddy issues is so rife in our generation, so much pain from daddy wounds. This is a story of how we were healed.
Okay, so our last video was titled I Wish My Dad Were Dead. And in that video we talked about our daddy issues, and then we promised you that we were going to do another part. And now a lot of people send me so much DMs, like I could relate with that story, like it made sense. But like y'all are not commenting on the video on YouTube. Comment there. Don't just DM me. Okay, alright, so let's do this.
Okay.
We're gonna be talking about how we came out of it.
How we healed.
How we healed from it.
So I think
Alright.
The process of healing was a very gradual process.
Yeah.
In fact, no healing process is ever instant. It always happens gradually.
It's a process.
It's always a process. I think for me, the healing process started at those times. I and my dad would argue because we were always arguing.
We were always arguing, y'all.
And my mom would be like, "Go apologize," and I'd be like, "But it was not my fault." So y'all, I would stay outside his room for like so long because I just couldn't do it, but I'd have to do it at the end of the day. Then it got to this point where it was not just my mom telling me, it was now the Holy Spirit. And at this time the Holy Spirit would tell me to go apologize. It wasn't my fault. But I had to do it anyway, and I'd be like, I'll try to negotiate with the Holy Spirit, right? I'll be like, no, you don't understand. What if I do it? And
like you
the Holy Spirit, when the Holy Spirit tells you something, you just gotta do it, right?
Yeah. You're trying to be like, Holy Spirit, he's not your daddy. I know you don't get it.
You don't understand. You don't understand my position, Holy Spirit. But at the end of the day, I just have to do it, and those were difficult times.
Right here, I think I was the first. Right here, I learned to see things from Daddy's perspective. I learned to see things from his perspective. Like I told y'all, he'll be saying A and we'll be saying Z, and it was so far apart. So I just started to try to just side with him, even if it made sense to me or not. And right there, I realized that whenever the arguments happened, they didn't always degenerate to the least level. It would just be like, okay, we have a little problem, and then it would just go down, because he felt like he had somebody on his side. And then I realized that he wasn't as violent or as haughty, he was just, sometimes it would even end in laughter. Because I feel him seeing that somebody was on his side made him understand that he was loved. For you, what was the thing you did? Okay. What was your process like?
Okay. I think at the beginning, I read this book, Why You Act the Way You Do by Tim LaHaye, and he said that you're going to get married to a man exactly like your father. And I was like, what did she say?
Sorry?
So I like, what did she say? Like, it was such a shocker to me because I thought that was my escape. Get married at the end of the day, and you're just going to leave all this stuff alone. But it didn't really, I didn't know what to do about it. I just like left it there. Until some months later, I listened to a Joel Osteen message, and he said exactly the same thing. I was like, okay, girl, we got to do something about it. If Joel Osteen says it, it's true, right? And I just had to ask the Holy Spirit, like, what strategy would you give me to do this? But for peace, I think it was easier.
Because I'm peace,
So what was you?
Like I'm the better person.
So what was it?
Okay, so what I did was this. Somehow I just understood that somebody had to be the mature one. And if you look at relationships are always meant to have a downward incline or downward slope. Unless the people involved in the relationship are pushing it upward. If I could pour love into this person, the love will be reciprocated. And if this person could pour love into me, it will be reciprocated. But somebody had to start. So I decided to be the bigger one and start. And so what I would do is when I'm coming back from work, I would get Daddy biscuits and sweets. And it was, it's just how I think. Because I'm the kind of person that I don't need big things for you to prove that you love me or something. I just need to know that, okay, it's a little thing, but it makes me remember that you were thinking about me enough to get this for me. So I'm like, yeah, Daddy, I bought it for you. And he's like, okay. At first, he'd be like, no, I don't want to just go out and all of that stuff. But later on, it became hilarious to him. So he'd be like, okay, sweets, okay, biscuits. So we'd eat them together and just discuss, okay, how was work? Work was good. And doing that constantly, it gave me a platform for for me to reach out to him. And even before then, I would, like Lori mentioned, prayer times. When he would storm out of, the prayer session, I would be the first to go into his room and just try to. I always found a way to drag him out. I don't know how I did it. I just had that because.
Okay, yeah. So there's something This mentioned that she had to be the bigger person.
Yeah.
You see, most times when we're in relationships, even I realize it's this thing we do when we feel like somebody knows better or should know better, we condemn them if they didn't do better.
Sorry, did you hear what? Do better. Some people are like, what did she just say? Better, do better. Like,
let me use this illustration for example. A pastor makes a mistake and we condemn him almost immediately because we think, okay, he should know better and he should do better, right? We don't actually know that they're humans, right?
Wow.
So I think that's what we do when we're in a relationship with somebody who we feel like should be more experienced. We feel like, okay, you should know better than to do this, so you're going to wait for that person to make the first move.
Yeah.
But maturity is not necessarily age-wise, Wow. It doesn't necessarily mean that because your father or your mother is older than you, then they should know better, not necessarily.
Yeah.
So, as P said, I feel like as kids, as children, we should come to the point where we feel like, okay, I'm going to be the more mature one.
Yeah.
I'm going to put in the love necessary. I'm going to make the first move. For me, the strategy that God gave me was I'd go to his room and ask him about his challenges.
Because she said God and you're like, you go to God's
room.
room.
I'll go to my daddy's room and ask him about his challenges. And it was hard for me at first because I wanted somebody to ask me about my challenges.
Now. I have challenges too.
Right. But I had to do it for him. Yeah. And after I was done, I was like, okay, I'd pray with him. I wanted somebody to pray for him.
And when he was sharing his challenges, you would feel like, say what you want to say quickly and let me get out of here. Yeah.
And then I'll pray for him and then I'll tell him I love you and just encourage him and stuff. And I needed that encouragement so much. First of all, he started loving this moment because I overheard him telling somebody just how much he appreciated it. Wow. And then I realized that relationship evolved because after I talked to him, he'd ask me, what about your challenges?
Yeah.
Y'all see what was happening? Y'all see what was happening? So he would ask me about my own challenges and then I would tell him and he would pray. After I prayed for him, he would pray for me too and encourage me. Yeah. It was just getting better, right?
Yeah, and I did have those moments with him as well. Yeah. But I don't know how we both knew about it. It was something I would do when you didn't know about, when you weren't necessarily like. I would do that as well and just say, Daddy, I love you. And at that moment, the words I love you were extremely hard to say. So I'll be like, I love him. Like I don't even say I love you. Like I love you. Like what I'm saying. But like it was really hard. I was just saying it, at that moment, and that was what it was.
I remember that moment where I was like, okay, I want my daddy to be a role model to my sons and my own husband.
And it sounded so
and it was
impossible.
Like, when something just echoing of. But now I can see the reality staring me in the face and the person of my daddy, right? Yeah. So what I want to say, like at this moment, like my dad calls me,
It's too much, okay?
It calls me so much. Like, I'm tired of it. The love is too much. Like, he calls me so much. Asks me about my day, my challenges. Just tells me, Gloria, just go tell you I love you. And I'm like, okay,
And now it's so easy to say the words I love you back. Yeah. He's always calling and all of that stuff. Yes. And then something else I want to speak to is the fact that, how so many young people feel like, okay, this is my family. Let them do whatever it is they want to do. I just want to go. And I feel that's the reason why you see people would be like, whenever they're on break, they don't want to come home from school because they feel like being at home is like being in a bondage or being in a prison. And so I felt like, okay, someday I'm going to leave this place and I'm going to be my own girl and I'm going to have a very great family. But then I had this insight or a revelation that if I couldn't fix what was going on in my home right now, I would never have that home that I was looking for, because we are a product of what we see happen. Exactly. For instance, if you see guys whose fathers were abusive, say they would never beat a woman, but years down the road you find them falling into the same trap. It is because they saw something happen and that is, it becomes an option for them. It becomes life, normal life for them. So I know that I had seen something or I had experienced something in my present home that I didn't want to carry to my future home. But I didn't have an option. I will carry it, and I had to carry it unless I fought it, right? So I had to make where I was positive enough for me to see something positive so I could take it to wherever I was going to. If you're a guy and you have issues with your daddy, you probably become like him years down the road. And if you're a girl who has issues with your daddy, you would probably be attracted. Psychologically, it's been proven you'll be attracted to somebody who is exactly like your dad. So imagine running away from an abusive father and going to an abusive husband. Like, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, from what you just said, that's the reason I know I had to fight, because I didn't want my sons or my daughters to complain the same thing about your daddy. Looking at it now, right, we are reaping the harvest of what we sowed.
Yeah, absolutely.
We sowed, sorry.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's so much. It's too much. It's even more than it's more. What we're receiving is more than we put in.
Absolutely.
Right. So there's beauty connected to what you're going through now. There's beauty to your daddy issues, but you have to work it. Right. There's so much on the other side of this that if you would just do the work, you would receive everything that's connected to this season.
And some people do not see the essence of actually healing from their daddy wounds. You know, you have a bit of an issue with your daddy, but you're like, you want to manage the relationship. There is an opportunity for that relationship to become great. So if you have that opportunity, why not just make use of it? Like, the healing is absolutely necessary. And I was telling Glory, like, so many people pump hatred, unforgiveness, contempt to their fathers because, or their mothers or their parents, because their parent did something to them that hurt them. So they're pumping, I would never forgive you, you are bad. And they expect those parents to somehow love them and say, I'm sorry for what I did. That would never happen. Until you decide to be the bigger one and pump the right things into them. Only then would it be given back to you.
And from what you're just saying, Peace, I realized that sometimes, as you said, we pump hate, contempt, revenge on our parents, and we expect to receive something good at the end of the day. Let me tell you something. Sometimes what you sow doesn't come in the same place you sow it. So you're sowing hatred, contempt to your daddy. You may receive it you might receive the harvest
from
your
children.
son. Yes, you get. So even sometimes we may sow love and attention to our fathers and we didn't even see it in that place. You may come from your own children. You may receive the harvest from your own children. But at the end of the day, you're still going to get something good. So, I don't know about you, but I like to leave with the intent or with the consciousness that I sow something good and I'm getting something good in return. And just leave with the consciousness that, I sow something bad and I'm just waiting for it to catch up with me. Right? Now. So be intentional about what you sow in this season.
And I want to say, even as you do that, you realize that when you build bridges to your parents, you begin to see things from their perspective, and you realize that they're not the monsters you thought they were. I heard this recently. Villains started out as victims, right? Yes, villains started out as victims. And I realized when I was talking with my dad that he had daddy issues. He didn't like his dad as well. And now here he is. He did better than his dad, but we also did have daddy issues. So if I don't fight this thing, I would find my children saying I had daddy issues, and then it keeps going on from generation to generation.
Yeah, somebody has to say it stops with me.
It stops with me. Like, it ain't going past me.
No, because this thing is generational.
It is. Right? It is. So, and to the last thing I want to say, I know we're trying to end this video, but things keep coming up. I want to say, sometimes we are so conscious about people finishing the race that we don't congratulate those who start the race. And what do I mean? Take for instance, I said in the last video that my dad once upon a time, you should watch that video, yes.
You should.
So you will get what I'm saying. So my dad took me to somebody's house, right? Because the son of that person had slapped me, and so he wanted to go fight. But when he got there, he wasn't doing what I thought he was supposed to do. He practically just let them blame my mom. So I felt he was weak. In fact, I tagged men weak in that moment. But then I realized that he started. He didn't finish it, but he started. He said, I won't be here and somebody would slap my daughter. I wouldn't be here and watch somebody walk over my daughter. So he took me there with the intention of defending me. But then I saw that he didn't finish it well, so I began to blame him. What I want to say right here is that so many of you are condemning your parents because they didn't finish it, but they started it. At least they didn't abort you. I mean, you may be living with a relative. You may have grown up not knowing who your mom was. You may have whatever it is, at least she had you. It may be your father. Maybe he's being abusive right now, but at least he took you when your mom left. He started. But sometimes people don't know how to finish. It's like a relay race. Somebody's holding a baton and suddenly they fall, or they're having, some ankle sprain and they fall. The next runner actually gets the baton and runs for the last person as well as themselves. It's not about the person who fell. It's not about blaming each other in a relay race. It's about the prize ahead. I have to win on my lane, right? I want you listening to me to show your parents that mercy.
Shouldn't
that they started. Help them finish it.
Help them feel wow, beautiful. So actually this video is actually dedicated to our daddy.
Yes, Daddy. This video is dedicated to you. We love you so much.
Yeah. We love you.
This so many of you. What you need to do is you need to become an environment for the people around you to grow.
Yeah.
Because Gloria and myself became the environment for my daddy to evolve. You want your parents to evolve and become the best version of themselves, but you're not the conducive environment for them to do that. Now, there's so much good about my dad that I see. My dad is the only father I know who still washes my clothes. Like,
it's true.
It means nothing to him.
True.
I didn't even know it was a special thing until I got talking with some other people. Yes. So there are special things about your parents that no other parents in this world has, but you would never see it because the hate, clouds your eye and all of that. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Thank you. Please go watch the last video if you didn't, and like, and share, and subscribe, and comment.
Comment.
Bye for now.
Yeah, and I think this video is worth watching. Like that video right there. Yeah. It is worth watching.